What's going on, guys? Dan Cal here with Liquidation Pros, and excited tonight to have Chris from LiquidationOH with me. We're going to be talking about how to manage your eBay, Amazon business when you're traveling, when you're out of town, when you, like both of us, we have other jobs that we need to go out of state for at certain periods of time, and what we do with that business. For those of you just checking this video out the first time here, like I said, my name is Dan. I have a full-time job, and I have a resale business that I do on the side where I buy bulk liquidation items and sell them on eBay and Amazon. I also have a family, 4 kids, so there's a lot of different things to juggle and manage, and tonight's show and topic is going to be all about that. If you haven't seen us before or checked us out, we're doing this every week on Thursday nights at 10 o'clock. It's an alternating show, so either my channel or Chris, who's going to introduce himself in a second. And I have his link down in the comments, and some people will be posting it in the chat. Chris, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, everybody. For those who don't know me, Chris, LiquidationOH. I also have a day job as well, resell full-time at night. I buy everything from liquidation boxes, pallets, to thrifting, to wholesale closeouts. Tonight's a timely topic. I just got back from Texas, which was nice. They have a ton of thrift stores down there. I think I probably could stay down there another week, but yeah, great topic to talk about. Not only talking about how to finagle the systems, but also to finagle your processes and how you can juggle while you're away with your customers and continue to sell or source.
Now, for those that don't know, we're able to follow your journey on Instagram, LiquidationOH. If you guys want to follow Chris there, I follow your stories and your posts. Obviously, I noticed you were buying a lot of products, thrifting. It looked like. I mean, at one point you had like a carload of stuff. So, tell us a little bit about that while you were gone. What you were taking advantage of, what you were noticing in a different state. Kind of, when you go to different places, I notice it's a little bit different than what I'm used to. So, I'm curious what your thoughts are down in Texas.
So mainly when I'm out of town, I try to source locally, like physical stuff, as well as online. And I have a question for you about the online piece when you're out. But out of town, I try and look for the thrift stores. I try to work my day job around where I can find product. So once I had time, I planned out where the thrift stores were around where I was at. I then tried to strategically hit them up. And some things to think about when you're not sourcing your local areas is price. And Austin had almost double the price of what my shirts were. So I kind of had to look differently than I would at home. And then the other thing is how to get it home. So that was one aspect of the thrifting side. I also looked at online. I had a bunch of online sheets from my suppliers that I went through and was able to research when I had downtime. But Dan, for you, what about you when you travel, either for family or for work? What do you do?
Normally the same thing. If I have the time to go out and physically hit stores or outlets, I will do that. Last week when we were traveling for a mini vacation for our anniversary, just because we enjoy shopping, we went to the outlets, and of course I bought stuff for the business there. There were a lot more opportunities that I wasn't prepared for. In the shoes, like at Adidas and Nike, I just didn't have the room in the van, knowing that it was just me and the wife out for the day, but knowing I had to take all the stuff and 4 kids home, I just didn't have the space. But and there wasn't quite enough profit to make it worth like shipping it back or storing it somewhere and then dealing with getting it home later. So passed on a few opportunities, but was able to capitalize on a bunch of Columbia or like rain jackets that were on clearance. And then I think Columbia was running, was it 40%, 40 or 50% off of clearance. So and then Red Tag was 75% off. So I was getting really nice jackets for like between 15 and 17 bucks. So I think I ended up with like 20 jackets that I brought back from that trip, and actually getting ready to finalize those listings. I have all the drafts are done now by my lister. So be launching those. But like you said, I also, just because I'm kind of involved in the business, I enjoy it. Like when there's a moment to, whether it's on the beach or wherever, and I have time on my phone, I'll look and see what kind of auctions or what kind of different deals are coming through, just because I enjoy that. And I know that that's something, if I make that happen, then it's going to be products when I get back the following week that's already coming in. So normally I do a lot of online sourcing when I'm traveling or on vacation for that reason, just because I know I don't have to physically take it with me. I can, expect it to come the following week.
Yeah, and it's also psychologically nice because your product will most likely be there when you get back. So you have all that stuff to work if you're ordering it when you're out.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say some of the biggest buys I've made, but I've made a lot of purchases when I'm on vacation, just because I find more time at night to look through lots. There's not a whole lot going on. When I'm at home, there's just all this inventory and different things to be doing. I may only spend like an hour every other night, or and half an hour during lunch and an hour at night to look through different potential deals. And when I'm on vacation, it might be every day I'm doing that. So
Another thing,
I
go ahead.
don't have, just to I'll be clear too, I don't have to do that. It's just I enjoy that part of the process. I enjoy the hunt of the deal, finding those good buys. There's also days where I may not look at all, but if I have the time, I will take advantage of it.
Another thing to think about too, if you're traveling, it's going to be different if you're driving or flying. Driving, you're most likely always have room. Flying, I try to think a little differently. I try to pack just what I need, or less than I need to keep room in my suitcase. Another thing you can do is buy a duffel bag. So I didn't realize I would have bought so much as what I did. I did not have enough room in my roll-on bag, so I actually went on Prime Now and bought a duffel bag for $20. I actually got it delivered to my brother-in-law's house. So I had this big duffel bag. There has to be 60 items that I bought, at least. And now I'm going to use that because it's condensable. So I can throw that in any bag I take now, and I can check that if I need to. But yeah, just beware flying. You might need to plan ahead.
And was that delivered to your hotel, or how'd that work?
So my day job, we had a bunch of different cities we go to. Austin was one of them. My brother-in-law lives down there, so that's why I chose it. I ended up staying with them. They delivered to his house, which was awesome. It was only a $20 duffel bag, and I couldn't thrift the duffel bag because there wasn't any.
Let's talk about one topic that we have for tonight that's a big one. It's the fact that you're gone and you're going to have eBay shipping, packages, customer service, questions, all these different things that happen on a day-to-day basis that now you're not there, part of the business. And how do you tackle that? For me, I put my eBay store on vacation mode, and I extend my handling time. And typically I try to set it either 3 to 4 days, depending on, like if it's a week vacation, I'll do 3 to 4 days. But that's because I know that I can get my helper or 2 helpers to come at least once or twice during the week. They'll normally come anyway to check on the house and work for a little bit. So there shouldn't be any issues with shipping. If they ever had a scenario where they couldn't find an item, we could FaceTime or do a hangout or whatever, and I could help them try to look for it. Or they sent me pictures before, like, is this how I'm supposed to ship this? Does this look right? Does this fee look right? So, there is some juggling while you're on vacation or at work if you do go that route, but I don't want to see that drop off in sales or deal with people that decide they want to cancel the order after 3 or 4 days because it's taken too long for it to start shipping. What about you? What do you think about that?
I don't use vacation mode. I just extend my handling time out. I heard now it sounds like your vacation mode doesn't impact your sales. Like a long time ago, I heard there was I don't know if people guessed that was the issue, but I just use handling time. So for example, when did I leave? I left Sunday and I got back today. So I extended out 5 days. And then what I do every day as a day elapses, I take my handling time 1 day down, depending on when I want to ship stuff out. So handling time is the only thing I do. But the other thing that I do because of that is I message each sale and I say, hey, hopefully you saw my handling time. I'm on a trip. I'll mail it out X date. And like you said, half the time they're fine with that date. I actually had someone ask for a discount, but I said this was a courtesy email. If you saw the handling time, they didn't cancel it. But so yeah, extend the handling time. In terms of the shipping piece, I do not have someone to ship out for me. The only person I have is my wife. So what happened was this past week, either the policy didn't catch one of the items I had, and I had to ship it out. I think it was Tuesday. So I had to tell my wife, hey, you're going to have to ship something out for me today. So we had to FaceTime. She had to find it. I had her weigh it. It was a piece of clothing item, so it goes in a bag. Pretty simple. Had her weigh it, and I basically bought the label through my computer, emailed her the PDF, and we did porch pickup the next day.
Oh, nice. So for all of my eBay stuff, I already have all the predetermined measurements and estimated weight. It's normally within an ounce or two. And I'll normally estimate a little bit higher. So and then I'll double. If that seems like it's a little bit off when I'm getting ready to print the label, I'll throw in the scale real quick. But for my helper, it's not really too big of an issue for her to go ahead and just go through each one, find it. We use custom label SKUs, so she can go right to each box and find the item and ship it out that way. So that's been a big help. It's normally only once a year, maybe twice a year that comes into play. Most of the time, the 3 to 4 day or the long weekend, I only really need to get through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday doesn't count towards handling time anyway. So if we're leaving like a Thursday to Monday trip, I'll just extend my handling for like 2 days. It's not a big deal. But still, the trips where we're traveling and we're going for a solid week, I don't want to lose on those sales. So I do try to strategically plan the week out and make sure I have help come at least once during the week to check on the house anyway, ship packages out. Another thing I had is like, what about say you're gone for what's going to be a week, you're 3 or 4 days into it, and you have a return that comes back. How do you handle that?
That's a good one. I think I had that once or twice. A lot of those times, if it's a low value item, I'll just take the return and assume that the buyer sent it back. I'm trying to think what else. If it's a high value, I'm trying to think if I did have a high value one. I think I messaged the seller and I said, hey, I'll be home in 2 days. I'll refund you when I get home. But yeah, if in that case, usually if with family, if they're with me, that's what I'll do.
Yeah, 99% of the time you're getting the actual item back anyway. So I'm not too worried to go ahead and refund the buyer while I'm gone and deal with it when I get home. If it is an issue, I could always go through the route of contacting eBay customer support and be like, look, I know I refunded them, but they didn't send the correct item back or something like that. But typically I'll just make the return, I'll make the refund. But like you said, if it is like a, say, $75, $100, $150 item, I probably would be a little bit more leery and hope that my helper or someone while they're here could take a look and confirm that they did send back what they were supposed to and not a brick or something like that.
Yeah.
But,
so it sounds like a couple things that you do ahead of time. What are some specific things you plan for your helper before you leave?
So first of all, I try to schedule out how long or how many hours do they think are they coming for 2 days and a couple hours each day, or they want to work 3 or 4 days. I'm trying to figure out how much work they're going to need for while I'm gone. So leading up to that, I may be buying more inventory. I may be processing and prepping more inventory in preparation for them to have something to do while I'm gone. I may have to have them sort or test inventory. I need to have all of that prepared, the inventory itself, but then I have to have like instructions and almost like a list of things that they can be working on. That way I'm not getting bombarded with, hey, what do you want me to do next? What else do you have? Do you have any more work? It's all laid out for them, photograph these items and on the, the to-do list, and there'll be a box that says these need to be photoed, and test these items. And then where those items are, there'll be a label, test these. So it's real easy for them to walk through the process and keep themselves busy. I don't really have any issues with worrying about them being here but not working or not doing anything. Most the people that have helping me are honest and stay pretty busy for the most part. So my biggest thing is if I ever had issues with delivery. So I was say I'm expecting a pallet to come on Friday before we go on vacation and it doesn't show up, and then now they want to reschedule it for the following week. That's problematic because I obviously can't expect to have that dropped off and get people here to unload it while I'm out of state. Typically what I'll do is I'll just work with the carrier to have it postponed another week. I've had this happen once. They weren't happy about it. They did remind me that I think it was over 21 days and they were going to start charging me, which would help. It had only been a couple days and then plus another week. So I was nowhere near that. But it all depends on who's making the final shipment for you. But and then the other thing you might have is if you're doing liquidation.com lots, like small box lots, you don't want a bunch of those boxes sitting on your porch for an extended period of time.
Right.
So you're going to want a neighbor or a family member or someone to at least come, open the door, and stick them inside. But I think for most people, if you're gone for extended period of time, you have someone not necessarily house sitting, but maybe checking on your house every other day or getting the mail or what have you. So,
yeah, I had that was last summer. I had like 8 boxes of liquidation on my porch. I called my neighbor. I said, "Hey, I'm not," because I have a Wi-Fi lock, so I unlocked it. I said, "Hey, just throw them inside." And so to your point, they came in and put them in the house. But I think that's key. Either if you're solo, or you have help, or you kind of have help, be it remote or on site, plan ahead, right? So at least if you're solo, take your pictures beforehand, take all your measurements, put them in a sheet, so when you're out, you could list. So I try to list every day when I'm gone. I have all my pictures in a folder. I at least try to do one a day, but just to keep that the activity up.
yep. And just 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was teaching my helper to upload photos to Octiva, which is the third-party platform I use, and how to start the communications with my VA to let her know that there's new photos there for her to start working on. So I did start that, and then my other helper, I started training her on Amazon, how to add a product, how to label a product, and build shipments. So I'm a little bit more leery on that, and I'm still double checking everything there, but I'm less leery about the eBay side and creating listings and photographs and all that.
Yeah.
So,
My thing is Amazon, you have to make sure you turn off your merchant fulfilled. I've had a couple instances where either I forgot and I said, "Oh, I'll do it when I have a layover." Well, guess what? I sold merchant fulfilled before I landed a VCR. So I had to go in and find it on eBay and drop ship it. I think I only made like $1 or $2, but those are some things you think about. You have to think about all your platforms. So for me, I did handling time on eBay. I put my Posh store on vacation, and you can do that in your Posh settings. What I do there is I turn it off 2 days before I get back, because usually they say, I think it's shipped between 2 and 3 days, I think. So I turn that off early if I get offers come in. I deactivate all my Mercari listings, and I say Amazon. I do inactive on Amazon, where your FBA will still sell on Amazon.
And same here. I pretty much am trained to right before we walk out the door, I go shut everything off, do all my vacation modes, whatever it is, and then any final shipments that came in while I was packing or whatever, you always get a couple that day that you're leaving. Get those shipped out, and my porch pickup scheduled for the next day. And then I'll actually even text my mailman and let him know, hey, we're going out of town for X amount of days. So
you have your mailman's phone number? That's awesome. Yeah. That's a good idea.
That's a number one tip right there, is become good friends with your mailman. Give them hot pizza when they come over here and there, or tip them on Christmas, and it goes a long way. He'll let me know like, hey, I'm getting ready to go on a week's vacation, because what happens is when you have like alternate carriers come do your route, sometimes they don't do the pickups. They don't see the pickup request sheet, because I do daily pickups in my house, so I don't have to go to the post office unless for some reason they don't show up. And I know that he lets me know he's not working. If those packages aren't picked up by 4 o'clock, because my route's normally somewhere between 12 and 2, they should be at my house, or they're not going to finish till like 8 o'clock at night. So by like 12 or by like 4, if they haven't picked them up, then I should take them to the post office, even if I had scheduled a pickup, because there's a good chance they're not coming, or they're also going to get scanned after 5, which is technically the next business day.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
I was just saying, just one thing to think about. I mean, not everyone has. I'm really fortunate with my mail carrier. My wife actually went to school with them, so it's kind of cool to have that connection.
There you go. Now, when you're on either vacation, I guess, or work, do you find yourself on your laptop and or phone the same amount of time, or not so much?
No, I mean, I do try to take a break from it. So with my regular job, I'm on the computer all day long, pretty much, unless we have some kind of special projects where I'm out on the road. But for the most part, I'm on the computer. So I enjoy like processing inventory and looking for the different lots, but I can easily take a break from that. But there's periods of time where if say we're at the beach and the kids are playing, everyone's sitting around, and people are looking on their phones, looking on Instagram, whatever. I'd rather look at auctions or lots and scroll through and see if I can find any deals for the upcoming week. So it's not a ton of time, but within an hour every other day, I'm normally on there, mainly looking for upcoming deals, checking any pertinent messages that have to be responded to, and then just following up with any questions from my help or anything like that. So
Yeah, I find at least if I'm traveling for work, I get to do more work during the day now. Uh, Either because I'm doing work early in the morning and my free time falls in a different slot, and or my the kids aren't with me, so I can do a lot more things that I normally wouldn't do. Like for example, I was able to work on my website during the day. I could list more during the day. So it was just managing my time a little bit differently.
yeah. And my job's pretty flexible. My regular job, sitting there eating lunch, it's not a big deal what I'm doing on the computer for 30 minutes, really. I mean, to a certain extent, but as far as like looking at eBay, everyone I work with, my boss, and everyone knows what I do on the side, so it's not really a big deal. So I will check like during lunch and see what's happening, what's out there, and then normally like before I go to bed, after I finish my shipping, I'll jump in and just double check and make sure I'm not missing anything that I might be interested in. So, um, now one note I had that we had talked about once before. It's like, what are you trying to create here? Are you trying to create and put yourself in your own job, or are you trying to create a business? So like a job means you have to be in every step, every part. It's relying on you to get that job done. Whereas a business is you're able to leave, you're able to step away, you're able to delegate. And like when I leave for a week, things continue going without a hitch. And that's ultimately what you want to get to. That way down the road, you could ultimately leave for a month and still continue to get that money coming in. So that's where I want to be at.
No, I agree. I mean, as untouchable as possible, right?
Yep.
So working your way up to there, I'm trying to take little baby steps on hands off. So at least for a portion of it, thrifting versus wholesale, or FBA versus eBay. So can I have someone take pictures and write descriptions first, then slowly work to them, have them create the listings, and then how do I get to the next step of having someone ship for me? So as I go through those steps, that's kind of the progression I want to go to. And so when I do take vacation, I'm not messaging buyers. I'm not looking eBay as much. I'm not worrying if I have it in stock. But that's kind of my timeline.
Yep. And give you another example. So last Friday is the last time I really worked on the eBay Amazon business. I pretty much spent the whole day doing Amazon. I think I had 6 boxes sent in, like 6 large Home Depot boxes full of stuff. And since then, I worked all weekend, like Friday night, all weekend doing this gazebo project, which I actually just posted a video about, just a separate kind of goofy video of doing that. But and just so people know that follow me and seeing that pop up, the reason I did that is when I buy stuff like that, like I want to look on YouTube for what does this entail? Like how much the painted butts are going to be, what tools I need to set. Well, this is a new product, so no one had any videos or images or anything of this gazebo. I was like, well, why not be me? I just bought it. I might as well do a video, so maybe I can help someone else. So anyhow, that's why you guys might see that. But that took the entire weekend. Last night, the night before, it's like every day I've been doing stuff working on that project. And tomorrow it's my son's first birthday, and at 11 o'clock we're going to the zoo. So I have like a 4 or 5 hour window tomorrow to really get as much work done for the business as possible, and then I'm pretty much back on vacation again. But to give you an example, though, that like it sounds like I haven't been doing a whole lot. The last 3 days have been my best sales in the past 3 months, and that's because of the work we've been putting in leading up to this point. the work I did last Friday, and then my help that I had a lot of help the week before that was prepping stuff for eBay and this and that. So I've had multiple 3 days in a row that are end up, including today, will end up being over $1,000 in sales, eBay, Amazon each day. Not trying to brag or anything, but just goes to show you I haven't been working for going on almost a week. And so we part time tomorrow, yet the sales can continue to roll in if you put the time in and maximize when you are working, that you are just, pedal to the grindstone, you're getting it done, you're, no matter what it is, whether you're testing, prepping, photographing, listing, like stay focused and get that job done as much as you can then, because it's going to pay off later when you do need to relax or take a vacation or have another job that comes up, whatever it may be.
Oh, I agree. Pac-Man says happy first birthday.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, we should let's do a couple shout outs to the chat. I'm sorry, guys. I've been trying to keep up. We got Scott from Liquidation, Joey, Lance Shark. What's going on, guys? I think I saw a NASCAR man, 567-453-9270. Flipping Particles, Misha Mom. Someone else was blowing us up with some spam, it looks like.
I think that's key, though. There's two things, right? There's the, hey, this is not going to happen overnight. You have to learn the process of how the platform works, but not only that, but finding inventory that's favorable. Not only single pieces, but multiple pieces. Like right now, my Colorado Avalanche jerseys are flying off the shelf. Now they're in the playoffs, but having the wherewithal to buy all of them, right? And I should have bought more. Now I know to buy more, but being able to buy that stuff, put it in your store, stock it in your store, have enough of that inventory so your sales will start ramping up and you're going to get those $1,000 days.
Yep. And so how were your sales while you were gone? I think you did all right?
Yeah, so I was out. I mailed, actually my wife mailed too. So on eBay, I have to box up since Sunday. I have 25 or 27 going out. It's not great, but I'll take it. I think I had 3 or 4 FBA, and that's it. What about you? You said $3,000 days you had this week?
Like 3 single $1,000 days. Yeah.
How many items was that? Guesstimate. 10.
Yesterday I had 40 on Amazon. The day before that was like 40 something. I'm pulling up Amazon now. And then eBay, I had really good on eBay too, Monday and Tuesday. eBay, I was around like 15 to 20. I think I had 22 on Monday because I ran a sale through the weekend, and I ran it through midnight on Monday just to get a little extra boost. And Monday was killer. But yeah, so far today on Amazon I have 31 sales. So, but that basically I had one product that I bought. It was a overstock, like liquidation item, and I had 400 of 2 different colors. So the Brita sports bottle I've talked about on here before. It's nothing hidden, but basically it's a water filtration bottle. And the other lowest sellers finally ran out of stock, so it hit my price, and I sold like the past 3 days I've sold like 40 of them, plus all the other stuff I normally sell. So, and I have boxes of like 200 more of them. They're actually sitting right here.
How many times do you refresh your Amazon app? You check at night.
I probably check it maybe like 10 to 20 times a day.
Yeah, I check a lot.
Sometimes
it's a habit.
Yeah.
So like for example, planning ahead. I think planning ahead's key. Since I was traveling and I couldn't fulfill a lot of my sales of my hats were coming off of Amazon. So what I did was I turned off, made everything inactive, and I created all my FBA shipments before I left, and I had my wife mail them out. I already had the boxes; she just dropped them off.
So here's those bottles I was talking about. This is I think another 100 of them, but they look like this. And these are all, I had my helper label them all. They're all ready for FBA. And actually, this might be. I gotta look. It's 100. This is 100 of them.
Holy cow!
So I have 2 of those full ready to go, and I still have 40 left in stock. So
Yeah, whenever I can't fulfill orders, I get my FBA ready, so it'll hit the warehouse by the time I get back home.
And for anyone who couldn't see that or whatever, it's just basically a bunch of water bottles all in one box stacked together, prepped and ready for Amazon. I'm just ready to. I need to just send the shipping in when I feel like the inventory level justifies it. A couple of the other sellers are saying they're back ordered. The one says they'll be in stock the 5th. The one was the 9th, and the other one was the 14th. So that's not always 100% accurate, but I do look at that to kind of get an idea of what I'm dealing with and how much inventory I want to send in. So,
yeah,
but that's also only like a $12 item, but my buy cost was $225 a unit. So it's like,
ooh,
yeah, it's I think it ends up being $270 or $280 profit. So double my money. It's a lower value item, but when you can sell like 20 of them in a day, it adds up quick.
the rank's probably pretty low.
It's like 5 or 7,000
Oh,
in sports.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so just give you guys that's partly why. And then I finally finished sending out all the rest of the shorts, the liquidation shorts, men's shorts that I got. Those are all now active and at Amazon, and those are selling like crazy as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I love going deep in a single SKU. My NHL shorts also, those are going like crazy. And that's stuff like that's easy to box. So when I get home, I just grab all my sizes, shove them in the mailers, and mail them out.
yep. And that's going to be one of the best ways to scale your business is being able to buy either replenishables or 100 or 200 of the same item that sells pretty well. You can do that. You're gearing up for consistent sales over a long period of time. Like to give you an example, I have those same bottles on eBay, and I haven't sold any in the past 3 days at the same price. So
Yep.
that just shows you like some of the velocity differences between the two platforms. Like I'm selling literally 40 to 50 of them in 3 days on one platform and none on the other, and they're the same price. But there's people on eBay that are selling for like $6 with free shipping.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's kind of off the topic, but you got to think about. We know how the platforms work. We're always looking for deals. Not everyone is looking for a deal when they shop online. They know they can go to Amazon, they can get it in 2 days, and they're going to pay $12 for it. So they're not going to shop around.
and also, if anyone has any questions about vacation mode or traveling or anything like that, now would be a good time to pop them in the chat. We can do some Q&A before we get off of here. But I do appreciate everyone showing up on kind of a last-minute show with Chris traveling. Chris, thanks for coming on.
No, I couldn't miss our Thursday show.
Appreciate it.
I contemplated. They had in the thrift stores in Texas, they had like 10 shelves of books. Now, if I have to go back down there next time, I'm going to bring my delabel printer and do a couple of Amazon shipments. I did bring my scanner, but I didn't want to mess with mailing books out.
Yeah, I know there's some guys like Bearded Picker. When he travels, he'll bring everything he needs to prep Amazon FBA. Not every time, but
Yeah.
If he hits the mother load, he needs to be able to ship it in and continue shopping, continue buying because he's a couple states away on like a 2 or 3 day trip. So that's another good way. I've done that once where I was out of town and sent in a shipment, but that was a while back.
That's the key to driving, though. Driving, you could pretty much bring anything.
Yep. Yeah, most trips we do now with 4 kids, and even back when we had 2 or 3, it's just driving's the way to go. We're not going from Maryland to California anytime soon. No, we're going to Minnesota this upcoming year or this year.
Yeah.
In a couple months, but we're driving out there. It's like 20 hours. So I'm hoping to do some sourcing along the way, and I want to try to stop by the Trading Post, Pete Craigslist Hunter's shop on the way through there through Chicago.
How long are you staying there?
We'll be out there we have my wife's aunt has the place for a week. So probably like a 9-day vacation, an extra day of travel on each end, be out there for like 5-6 days.
So, and what month did you say that was?
That is in August.
Okay, we're going to the beach in July.
Beginning of August.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, we'll be doing beach weekends and hoping to run into you down there as well.
Oh, yeah. So thinking about that, putting that on the calendar, I mean, it's May right now. It's not too far away. So start thinking about, if I have to place multiple orders, growing up your Amazon before you leave, prepping your eBay or your helpers to get that set up. I think buying the product, though, if you're going to go source product online and get deliveries, you want to start doing that now.
The other thing, when you're asking about helpers too, is just double check that all your supplies are filled, because though you may be able to wing a shipment or load, shipping labels, your helper may not be able to too easily. I've had that happen before where the labels ran out on her. So now, even if it's like a half roll, I just take it out and put a new roll in, and then when that one runs out, I put the half roll back in. Just little things like that you should consider. Make sure they know how to log into computers if it gets locked out or if everything's shut down. Just silly little things that you won't think of, but you're not around to do the easy troubleshooting, and you try to relay that to someone through the phone when you're on the beach or something. It's not that easy. So it's always good to prepare for the worst, I guess you could say.
Hey, Karen, how's it going? When I first started, I think I only had 200 listings maybe. And I had probably 1 to 2 closed items. I actually it's when I had my truck. I put all my stuff in the back of my truck. I brought my bubble mailers, I brought my printer, and I fulfilled orders out of the back of my truck. I can't do that now.
Nice. The early days.
The early days, that's right, when I had barely anything.
Ooh, I think we nailed it down pretty good. I'm not seeing any other questions from the chat. Did you want to close this out on any final words?
I think know the platforms, how to work the platforms, plan ahead, bring an extra bag.
Yep. I'm just going to touch on that and go back to what I said earlier. Is like, are you trying to create another job or a business? One way to show that you've created a business is the fact that you can leave for several days and you can still make money while you're gone. So that's just one thing to keep in mind as you guys are trying to grow your eBay, Amazon, Poshmark, whatever it is. How can you start involving other people, or how can you set it up to where you can leave and everything keeps running? So with that being said, thanks to everybody for coming out tonight. Chris, once again, thanks for joining me for another Liquidation live show. And we'll catch you guys next week, Thursday night, 10 o'clock Eastern. See you guys.
See ya.